program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday, Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig, and as always on Mondays, alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. And we have a full slate of Friday football to recap. We have brand new power rankings that literally just got put up about a half an hour ago to talk about for Week 8 power rankings in football and more on today's episode of Running Point. Ty, how we doing? I didn't know if you were going to get out of Wadsworth. Let's just start with this game because we always start with the games that we're at, I guess. So you were at Wadsworth. Austin Town Fitch goes 4 overtimes with the Grizzlies. And, man, it was a marathon. And I thought Fitch was toast. I'm gonna just say we were in the studio. It was like a 27, 28-yard field goal to win the game.
24, actually. 24 to be.
And I was like, oh, this is it. And then they blocked it. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. And, I mean, you felt the momentum turn. Unfortunately, too. I mean, just I guess before we even get to that part, just to say about the game, I mean, this was another great matchup. And for the folks that remember last year's matchup that happened in Austintown, that ended up being a really good game as well. Fitch came on the winning end 38-28 in that one. But similar in that one is that Wadsworth at halftime last year had a 21-17 lead, and at the end of the third quarter, they had a 28-17 lead. Almost same case this year as they took a 13-7 lead into halftime. Again, Wadsworth was up after a half, but Fitch just able to do enough plays down the stretch to at least draw the game even and get it into overtime. And once the overtime started, I mean, it was like a whole nother game of madness that opened up from there.
I don't know about you, but watching it, especially I didn't watch the whole game, but watching the overtimes, I was shocked when Wadsworth got like inside the 15 in that fourth overtime, their last possession, and then they started to try to throw the ball. Like both defenses were gassed, and they were getting all they wanted on the ground. I think they got to that point on the ground with a big like 10-yard run on 1st and 10 in their last possession. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking like, you have Fitch's defense, and Fitch in the same manner, they scored in 2 plays, and it was just like both defenses are gassed. Why aren't you running the ball? Did you kind of think that way you were calling it? Like, why are we throwing? I think if I remember right, it was like 3 straight throws and then the pick.
What happened too, and what I noticed, the changing or the turning point in the game was the injury to the running back Kyle Figueroa for the Grizzlies in the overtime period, and it happened just before
first overtime.
It actually happened.
I remember you went on like a long commercial break, so it must have been kind of something pretty serious.
Right before the field goal attempt by Wadsworth. Right. So I feel like, but to that point, Kyle Figueroa, 31 carries, 120 plus yards, and a touchdown against Fitch's really good run defense. He was really opening things up for their quarterback Fisher to get what he wanted in the passing game. He had, I think, over 250 yards of offense through the air as well. So because of what Figueroa was doing, he was really setting the tone. That injury and that long stoppage of play, I think gave Wadsworth a little too much time to think about it. Coach Parker wisely also took a timeout immediately following to ice the kicker. And, they got a play drawn up. They were able to block it, and momentum really curved right there. And, what you saw in the other overtime periods was Wadsworth just turning to the pass game because they brought in a running back that didn't have a carry up until that point in Metzger, and they didn't really want to establish him into the game now or introduce him into the game now when he hasn't had snaps prior.
In because that field goal was the second overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Blocked for the second overtime, they went to a third, they both tied, and then they went to a fourth.
Yes, because Wadsworth came right out of the gate after the blocked field goal, 20-yard dart. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, threw a 20-yard pass to Davis Nye for a touchdown. Wadsworth did first play out of the gate in overtime 3.
So I guess that explains. But because I think the first play of that fourth overtime, their last possession, I think it was a pretty big run that got them down to like the 10, if I'm not mistaken. And I was thinking, like, why aren't you? But I guess I didn't know their running back was hurt, so that's a good explanation right there. But I thought, like, this Fitch defense has to be gassed at this point. I would have tried to run the ball. But does their quarterback run at all? Or are they kind of a read option type team, or no run for the quarterback?
Fisher didn't run too much. I will say though, despite the couple of turnovers that he did have, I thought Fisher played really well for the Grizzlies too. I think he managed the game well. I think he utilized the receivers really well, and that's a good Falcons defense. And he was really getting all he needed and putting together some really long 80-yard drives down the field on Fitch to score. So Wadsworth did a really good job. They went into that game in third place in Division I, Region 1. So they were a good football team. And I called it the Computer Points Bowl because the winner of this game was getting a ton of them, and Fitch ended up getting a ton of them too.
It was the game-sealing pick that ended it in the end zone by Pritchard, right? He got the pick.
Yeah.
So
Davion Pritchard with the pick. But honestly, the player of the game too, and I got a chance to talk to him. You got to go check out Dan Evans the third, and I call him the 3-headed dragon because of what his plays too. He had the touchdown return on special teams, the 88-yard kickoff return. He had an interception on defense, and he also had a receiving touchdown on offense. So making his name be known in all areas of the game too. And what else can you ask for from an athlete?
You and your nicknames, man.
The 3-headed dragon, right?
Call him dragon. Let's call him the Hydra at that point. You cut one head off, 2 more grow back.
Yeah, honestly, it's what it feels like, right? But
so Fitch wins in quadruple overtime, and I don't even know what the high school rules are. Is there a point when they have to go for 2 in high school? Or is it
we were discussing that in the press box because I thought it was after 3 overtimes that they did that, but there might have been a change to the rules. I'm sure someone like Chris Sigler might be able to help us out if he's watching right now. But we were talking about that in the press box, and I was talking with some of the coaches, and we were trying to figure that out where the overtime rule, if there is one where you start going for 2, because that's what I kept on saying during the broadcast. Player safety has to be taken into consideration at some point.
That's where it was. That's what it was in college until that marathon of a game Texas A&M and LSU played that went into like 7 or 8 overtimes. Now in college, it's 2 overtimes, then 1 overtime where you have to go for 2, and then the rest is just like almost like penalty kicks in soccer. It's just straight up 2-point conversions, back and forth. You have to go for this. You put the ball at the 2, you have 1 play to get in the end zone.
Hey, and that's kind of cool too, though. Your best against our best. Let's go at it. But that win for Fitch keeps them in the 4th spot, but they're now 5 points ahead of Akron St. Vincent St. Mary in the 5 spot. And we know for Fitch what the goal is. One of those goals, you want to be top 4, so you could host those first 2 playoff games and try to avoid Hoban as much as you can.
42-35 was the final score in 4 overtimes. Fitch gets the win, and they
clinched a playoff spot too, officially, according to Joe.
They made Ty have a really late night.
They definitely made have a late night, but it was a great game too. Definitely one of the best that I've been a part of, and I was laughing about it. I was like, I haven't really seen, or they haven't played a close game all year, whether they won or lost. And it's like, and now they put all their close games. Yeah, they put all the close games that they were supposed to have for the year into 1 week.
Fitch moves on this week to play Bournemouth at home, so they return to the nest, and even though the AAC isn't really a thing in football, it's an AAC rival, I guess you could say, as the Spartans come to town. They're going to be a desperate team. They need a win bad.
They're at 17. They're at 17. They're right on the outside looking in, and I don't care what the records are. Throw them out the window when these 2 teams meet up.
All right, here's another, not a championship, but first place was on the line in this game from the Wigwam in Southern Local Valley Christian able to get the win 15-6.
That win.
They took the lead 8-6. And then the ensuing possession, snap gets over the head, puts Valley Christian right in the scoring position, and they score again to seal it.
Now, I didn't see this game, man, and I know you had a chance probably to see more than I did. Was Southern Local not up 6-0 for like a decent chunk of this game?
They scored first, and then I think Valley scored, went for 2 to make it 8-6. And then in the ensuing possession, Southern had that bad snap, went over the head, and then it set Valley Christian up, in scoring position, and the game sealing touchdown made it 15-6, because the way Southern was going, even though there was time left, you're like, there's no way they're scoring twice in this kind of game. The way this game's going, we all understood that touchdown sealed it. It was a really physical game, low scoring. I thought if it ended in a score like this, it would be Southern that gets the win. I thought Valley would have to score more to win the game, but Southern's offense just couldn't find ways to consistently move the ball. And props to Valley's defense, especially their front, in stopping a guy like Wyatt Morris for the most part, keeping him in check. So that Southern offense, if you keep them behind the chains and don't let them win first down, it's going to be a long night for them, because they're not built for 3rd and 10. And I know a lot of offenses will sit and say, well, no one's really wants 3rd and 10, but some offenses can handle 3rd and 10 a little bit more than Southern Local's triple option can. It's not built for 3rd and 10. They're not built to drop back and pass.
That win was huge for Valley, because now they're in the top 3 right now in their respective region, in Region 21. And if they were to start the playoff today, it'd be a battle of the birds, with Jackson Milton being their opponent.
I think that'd be an interesting game.
That'd be a very interesting game too. And I mean, it's fun to look at these potential matchups, folks, because you got to remember, we're only 2 weeks away from actually saying these are the official matchups going into the playoffs.
So United now, their hopes of a EOAC championship are fading, not dead, but fading. Now they have to hope that someone upsets Valley Christian, because they've already lost to Valley Christian. They got the win over Wellsville 41-8 on Friday night. A big win for the Eagles as they kind of rolled again. Their offense, when it's clicking, almost unstoppable.
It really is too, and I mean, that's what we saw right there. United put it all together again, won another conference game, now 7-1 on the season. And yeah, you might not be able to win the EOAC, but you're still trying to fight and keep yourself in playoff position, right, too. And that's what United is. They're sitting at that 10 spot, and they're trying to climb, and they still have potential to climb this ladder, trying to host a playoff game. And
they have a game with Southern, which will still be a big game computer points.
If they can win that game, that's the game for United that can potentially push them to hosting at least that first round playoff game.
That will be in 2 weeks, week 10 matchup between United and Southern. I think Grant Knight might be one of the best guys at catching balls in the flat and turning it into a 65-yard touchdown. He did begin Friday night. It's one of our plays of the week, brought to you by NST. So if you get a chance, head over to our social media pages and check out the plays of the week from this week, because his little I don't want to call it a bubble screen. It was like a catch in the flat, and then he just turned on the jets, made a couple of moves, went cross field, and he was gone in a cloud of dust. He's so good in the open field.
And if talking about United, if we were to start the playoffs today, United would be going to Brookfield to play the Warriors.
That's a tough draw.
That is a tough draw, but I mean, I think it'd be an interesting matchup to see what United could bring to the table against a Warriors squad.
Yeah, I think they want to get out of that seeding so they don't have to do that in the first round.
You want to host definitely, but there's also room for Brookfield to move. I mean, they're a little bit
Brookfield has a big game this week.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's a lot of big games still left on the schedule, and these computer rankings and where these teams shake out can still definitely move. But this Garfield Brookfield game very well might be one of the games of the week for us.
So Edison came in to this week giving up 38 points in 7 weeks, and they gave up 14 to Harrison Central. So now they have 52 points in 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Mistaken.
They're
Yes.
they're a little bit behind schedule in the
I
points
know.
they're allowed.
Come on, you guys are letting it up a little bit.
Yeah,
You're letting me pull out the gas.
still haven't allowed over 20 points, I believe.
Now it's more than a touchdown a game. Nah, shame. They're losing steam. They got to work harder.
But we look at this now, and the schedule that's ahead for Edison is very favorable. Edison now sitting in the 4th spot in Division 5, same one as South Range, and they got to play 2-6 Buckeye Local, 1-7 Indian Creek. And
Look,
I mean,
Edison has taken care of the tough parts of their schedule.
anything that you want to say about Edison going forward now? I think though, upsets can happen, but I think one of the coolest stories about this is the fact we keep on mentioning it, but from 2019 to 2022 to change a program around that drastically from an 0-10 to a 10-0 season, and
they're about to go 10-0.
Like they have a very good
schedule, but like if they show up and take care of business, Edison is going to be a 10-0 team. 3 years removed from an 0-10 season.
It's incredible to see what Coach Colopy's been able to do. I mean, he has success with the team on the baseball side of things, but he is so passionate about Wildcat athletics too, and he's done such a great job in all the teams that he's coached. But to think that Edison could potentially be 10-0 this season after, like we said, going 0-10 just a few years ago, I think it just shows for programs of any size and gives them hope. Like there is potential to turn this thing around, and you can easily get right back on your feet.
Final score for that one, by the way, was Edison 49, Harrison Central 14. Big win for the Wildcats as they continue their undefeated season. Ashley Bueller Edgewood got the narrow victory over the weekend, 28-21. They do it in style, and they continue to put their stock into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I mean, Edgewood getting these big wins when they need to as well. And that's been really Edgewood's motto, man. I mean, the close games they've been able to pull out, and those wins have helped them in the playoff field this year. And
you saw them week 1 beat Conneaut on the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from their losses, I mean, I know they lost a good, powerful Jefferson team, a solid Perry team, and a solid Geneva team, but those teams combined, all winning teams, Jefferson 5-3, Perry and Geneva 6-2. Another good win. I mean, Chagrin Falls not a pushover team, and it's a nice win to set Edgewood up at 5-3, but we know the battle that they have in front of them here for week 9, and it does not get easy for week 9, but that win definitely.
Sound out.
Yeah, they got the Kirtland Hornets at home. So 8-0 Kirtland going into Edgewood.
Kirtland played Perry last week, and it was 8-8 at halftime, and they still won. I think 38-8 was the final score.
They're doing very similar things to like what Edison is doing in Division 5. I mean, defensively, but these are against some really good teams as well too. Geneva, Lutheran West, Perry, Lakeside. There's a lot of solid teams on here. Obviously, they play their conference just like Edgewood, same conference as Edgewood. Right. But the scores and the way they're winning too. I mean, the most points they've allowed this year is 16, and it was to that Perry team.
And they're playing Division 2, Division 3. Perry's Division 5.
They beat Lakeside, a Division 2 team, 35-8 last week. Well, this past Friday, yeah.
Nothing. Like, good luck.
They're tough, man.
Thriller and Alliance as these two teams battled for first place in the EBC, and it was West Branch that came out on top 42-35 with a last-second touchdown. It was 35-34. Alliance took a late lead, and Drew DeShields drove the Warriors down the field, made a little shovel pass on 4th and 4 to keep this drive going. And then later on in the game, or later on that drive, with a defender on his hip pulling him down, tucks it to the back of the end zone, touchdown West Branch. It had Mike Janaki screaming Drew DeShields for Heisman. And I can't argue. Like, let's do it. Give it to him now. You stop the voting. It's over. Don't bring out any other contestants. It's done. He wins. His performance in that game. I mean, this was maybe EBC championship on the line. Maybe they have to play Carrollton next week. That'll be a tough one for sure. But he was put in a really tough adverse situation. He needed that drive to win the game, down by 1. And he did it, man. And he did whatever it took to do it. It was a Herculean effort. One, like I said, a shovel pass with a guy hitting him, and then a guy bringing him down by the hips, and he just kind of shovels it to the back of the end zone from, like, I don't know, maybe 25 yards out, touchdown on a dime. It was incredible. He's something else.
It's a huge win against an Alliance team too, and just like they were able to put away Salem last year when Salem had a chance at the conference championship, Alliance came knocking at the door, and
they thought they had a tie.
West Branch knocked it down. Drew DeShields has done it 2 years in a row at that QB position, and now West Branch has taken over the number 1 spot. Gerard's still right on their tail, though.
This is where I have to just call, like, buffoonery or whatever this is bonkers, right? So Gerard's in the 1 spot 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago. They lose twice, stay in the 1 spot, and then they win and they drop out of the 1 spot.
And it's all because of the opponent. Gerard's opponent, Hubbard, was Division 4, and Alliance is Division 3.
There you go. Boom.
But also to the records, 5 and
had to go and move down.
5 and 3 is Hubbard. Alliance is 6 and 2. Little bit better records, a little bit higher division. That'll do it. But it's still like less than a half-point differential between these two teams. But interesting matchup. If playoffs were to start, West Branch and Struthers would link up in round 1.
Struthers is streaking in the right direction.
Struthers would be I think, dangerous 16 team, and it's not a team you can overlook in round 1 for sure.
The Anthony Carter, Alec Grissom, they both had that offense coming.
They could compete. They've
always been good.
Both teams.
They played South Range to 10 points. So
yeah, they played.
That'd be a tough draw for West Branch if that was their round 1 match.
That would be pretty tough too. And
that would be one where that's 1 versus 16. I'd be like upset alert. Not necessarily like saying like, oh, West Branch is, but like that would be one that West Branch would have to watch out for. One seed lost last year, by the way. Remember,
we do remember that too.
And the whole state of Ohio, it was Bellevue, I think, in Division 4 region. It wasn't ours in Division 4. We're Region 15, right? In 4,
I believe so. Yeah,
I think it was Region 14, the one right above us. Bellevue lost to, I can't remember who the 16 seed was, but they were 1 seed, and they got knocked out. And as soon as that happened, we were like, well, that 16 seed's here to stay because they just proved that someone can do it.
Yeah, honestly.
Everyone else got trounced, but one team did it, and that's good enough for the OHSA to say, let's go.
West Branch looking to get themselves a home playoff matchup and get themselves a top 4, but they have clinched a playoff spot officially, so we are guaranteed to see the Warriors.
And let's be honest, they're guaranteed to host no matter what. They're going to get a top 8 spot.
Likely they're
just trying to.
They're likely going to get a top 4 spot. Honestly,
they're trying to guarantee themselves to host 2 games in a row is what they're trying to do.
And if you can get number 1 spot, I mean that's what you ultimately look for.
And by the way, their uniforms slick.
Love the West
feeling good. I always look at their helmets, and I love the way that like their West Branch there is like it's not metallic shiny. It's kind of like it's got the shine. It's not matte. It's like a mix between like complete chrome and matte. It's got the shine, but it almost looks like someone took a chrome green arrowhead and just breathe. It's like blurry shiny. It's really cool. I like it. I'm a fan. And like, look, can't go wrong with arrowheads. Can't go wrong with arrowheads. So,
Ant's loving it. Yep.
That's right. The other day I did the West Branch volleyball game last week, and it was against Gerard. I wore the red YSN. I didn't even think about like what colors teams are. I just in my red YSN cage jacket, and then I had the Chiefs hat on because it was it was Red Friday or it was Victory Monday or something like that. So Walt DeShields comes up to me and he goes, "Why are you wearing the other team's color? What are you doing? You're wearing West Branch. What are you doing?" And I said, "Coach, at least I have the arrowhead for you guys." He goes, "That's true. I'm gonna go to the locker. I'm gonna get you some stuff."
I love Coach.
He's like, He's like, I better never see you here in West Branch without green on again.
Without green. Every time I see Coach DeShields for when I go down there for a volleyball game, he's always talking basketball and he's always good for a
He's
conversation.
excited for this season, man.
He's also excited. I mean, his son doing great things
Wow.
with the football team. We talked extensively about the football team when I was there as well. He's always good for sports talk, and he's so educated
I
in.
think we need to get Coach DeShields his own like roundtable show. He would be so good at that.
I can't
He's so
wait.
knowledgeable in many sports. Now he knows a lot about volleyball. He's sitting here talking to me about like, okay, we need to block this girl's pin and we need to watch the crowd. I was like,
The Shields family. I mean,
like he's breaking down X's and O's of volleyball. Like, let's go, coach.
I'm thoroughly convinced Penny and Walt had their vows just be exchanging plays. Like I think their vows were just exchanging their best play
Here's
that
my
they
playbook.
kept
Yeah, give me yours. Okay, where is it?
their back pocket play, like that they only use every once in a while. They exchange those plays for their vows, and that's like I feel like there had to be something along. That's just a sports family, and they do it to the highest level.
By the way, Penny stepped up this year because they had to get like they had a coaching change right before the start of the season. It wasn't her plan to come back this year. You know, she's the principal at West Branch too, and we know last year that kind of put a strain. You know, being the head coach of the varsity program and a principal. But you know, she stepped up. She said, "Hey, whatever went on, the coach had the job left for another one. I'm going to step up and lead this team." And West Branch is still sitting pretty good for a volleyball program in Division II. Brackets are out. We are going to have a tournament preview on ysnlive.com for volleyball, girls soccer, boys soccer out very, very soon. They just got released this morning at like 11. So we're going to work like crazy to make sure we get those tournament previews up on ysnlive.com, and then we're going to talk about it throughout the week as tournament volleyball soccer comes up. All right, back to football though. There we have another Warriors team that got a big win, setting up a big matchup for Brookfield. 34-6, they get the win over the Vikings of LeBray. And they kind of take care of business. No trap game involved, and they set up a big one with Garfield next week.
Essentially conference championship on the line. I mean, you got to book it. I don't think there's any other teams that can even potentially grab a hold of it at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
No, because Crestview lost to
Yeah, I think if we look at all the losses, I don't think there's any team that has a chance. So
great here.
This is quite literally the conference championship. And I mean, we talk about big games of the week. I mean, this is as big as it gets. The Division 6 Brookfield, Division 5 Garfield, and both of these teams in the thick of it in the playoffs as well. You look at Garfield, they're at the 7th spot. They're in position in line to host. And Brookfield right now being in Division 6, they are in the 7th spot as well. So it's the 7th seed in Region 21 going up against the 7th seed in Region 17.
Right. It's gonna be a fun one. And I think both these teams have a little bit to prove. You know, Brookfield has been kind of forgotten about ever since that week 1 loss to Ursuline. It's like, okay, you do whatever you want, but people, this is not my opinion. I'm just talking from the experts. Okay, you lost to Ursuline. That was your chance. You blew it. Okay, we're not going to think about you the rest of the season. Good luck. Do whatever you want. You know, it's kind of been like Brookfield's. They've kind of been forgotten about, and I feel like in the last 7 weeks, like they're putting together a strong season. Okay, they lost to Division 3 Ursuline, who, by the way, just went on the road to Baldwin Wallace and spanked Villa Anna St. Joe's. Like, gave them a proper lesson.
Backup quarterback too, smacked them.
Like gave them a proper lesson in what we do in Youngstown. Insane. We'll talk about that game later, but. Brookfield lost to that team. So what?
Yeah.
Honestly, you're supposed to lose that game. If you would have won that game, something's wrong in Ursuline.
Yeah. And
sorry.
For Garfield on the other side, it's kind of been the same thing. The only people are looking at that loss to JFK and saying they lost the division down, but
you lost on a walk-off 2-point conversion to probably one of the best teams in the state in Division 7.
Garfield has also quietly beaten opponents by 40 points like the last 3 weeks, and they've averaged beating their opponents by like 30 the entire season. Like,
You know why Garfield gets forgotten about? It's because they don't have that guy that's putting up. They don't have the Anthony Demma anymore. Like Anthony Demma was putting up such big numbers that you couldn't even ignore it. They have good guys. They're just kind of doing everything good, right? They're not doing one thing great. They're just kind of they're executing at a high level. They're staying disciplined. That's why I think they're getting under the radar because they don't have that guy that's like you have to pay attention to him because he is putting up 2,000 yards through 7 weeks of football. But that doesn't mean they're not a great football team. Keegan Sell is a monster. He's putting it together. We talked to Eric Geddes last week, who's just a huge asset to them. A lot of people were thinking, like, who's going to run this offense under center with Brody Swagonski gone? And he was such a good quarterback for this with this system. Eric Geddes stepped up, and he's making all the right decisions, putting him in the right spot. They scored 62 on Crestview. This is a good Crestview team that held Salem to 17, and that's the lowest Salem's ever been held to this year. And until this week, they held Southern to their season low of 12. And obviously, Southern got held to 6 this week by Valley Christian. But before that game, that was Southern's lowest point value of the season, being held to 6. So this is a Crestview defense that was very legit, and Garfield made Swiss cheese out of them.
This is going to be a great matchup of two good programs, and you know what? Coach Mike Moser has done a great job out there with Garrettsville Garfield this year, as they have always done. Though I mean, Garfield has just always consistently been a good football program, and like you said, Ant, they might not have the big flashy or sexy name, right? That you always have to look at, but they got plenty of guys that know their role, know how to do their job, and know how to do it well, and that's what they've been doing since day one.
That's what they've been doing. That's for sure. And the Warriors are coming to town in week 9. It should be fun.
Like if there's ever a reason to like get out to a game, or if you can't like watch it on the network, that's a game you're gonna want to watch. Like that's football in this area. They're both old school type physical football teams too. Like it's gonna be a barn burner for sure.
By the way, Garfield School will take care of that, and they do a great job.
Absolutely.
On their boxcast. So we'll have that link for you on ysnlive.com. 34-6, Brookfield gets the win over LeBray to set that one up. That is a final. We'll go over one more, and then we'll take a break on Running Point. Jackson Milton, they were in a dogfight with Waterloo. We weren't at this game. Unfortunately, YSN, we couldn't get an announcer out there to Waterloo, but we kept getting score updates, and it was nothing. We're like, are we sure? Is something glitching? Is this a typo? Because those are two good offenses that are putting together nothing, and then all of a sudden 7-0 Jackson Milton. And that's all they needed. Jackson Milton wins 7-0 on the road at Waterloo.
And that's a big win, and that's the second time now that Jackson Milton has proven that they can get into a low-scoring affair and come out victorious, and they were able to do it in shutout fashion. This is one too. If I'm Coach Brody, I'm going right into that huddle and saying we got to give about 11 game balls to the defense right now because everyone needs one because the defense just won us that game, and sometimes that's what you need. It's all about what you need for that day, that night, and defense stepped up and said, "We're going to get you on our back, and we're going to win this ball game."
It wasn't a pretty win, but one of my favorite quotes from a coach in the NFL, Bill Cowher. So what if we win ugly?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? It's an ugly win. It's a win, and it counts just the same as a blowout win.
Absolutely.
6-2. Computer points doesn't look at eye test. It doesn't look at point margin. It's just a win in the computer points. And Jackson Milton, that's all they care about as they continue to try to get one of the best records in Jackson Milton football history.
They need as many of these wins as possible to try to get themselves further into a playoff positioning. Only at 14 right now, surprisingly, in Region 21.
6-2 against their schedule. It doesn't help too much.
Yeah, sometimes you're a victim of the schedule you play, but it's all the more reason you got to win what's in front of you. And for Jackson Milton, they got a tough matchup with Springfield, and then they end the season at McDonald.
I think the Springfield game is going to be the one that they have a chance to really stake their claim into a big playoff spot, because Springfield's trajecting in the right way. It would be a big win, not just for the computer points, but also the perception of Jackson Milton going forward. Because when they went up against Middle Ridge, they didn't show up. Middle Ridge kind of took them to the barnyard. So Jackson Milton, I think they want to prove to everyone that game against Middle Ridge was a fluke, and they can compete with the upper tier of this conference.
That they definitely want to, and they're going to need as many wins as they can. They're still about 2 points ahead of the 17 team in Brooklyn. But you look at what
they're going all the way to New York.
Forget
about it.
The only thing that's unfortunate for Jackson Mountain is their next two opponents are both a division down from them in D7, both Springfield and McDonald. So not going to get any extra points for playing up division. You're actually going to lose a little bit for playing down one. But yeah, the biggest thing is if you win, you're going to be able to get yourself into playoff positioning likely. They don't control their own destiny yet, but 7-2, they would likely be in a good position to make the playoffs, I would think.
Mike making a really good point in the comments. Waterloo's defense has been really good this year. Only 30 or more points scored by Springfield and Lowell. So those are the upper tier teams of the MVAC.
Yeah, and I mean, Waterloo has played a really good defensive game, too. It's just getting those late scores that they've just been coming up short on. They played a really good game against Malvern earlier this year, too, where it was a similar thing, another one-score game where just couldn't get the last score to get over for the Vikings. But they're 3-5 on the season, and they've been competitive with a lot of teams they've played this year.
And for a while, I think that Springfield game was kind of defensive. Until Springfield opened the gates on them.
Yeah, I think so as well. And for Waterloo right now, I mean, it's a case too where they're just trying to figure out the ways to put together game-winning drives too, and create that winning culture. They're doing a great job of it. They've definitely gotten more and more competitive over the years. And every game, like I said, with maybe the exception of like Lowville and your Springfields, towards the end have been really close for all 4 quarters.
We are going to end the conversation there, and we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. More football recaps on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, Over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. If you're in the market for a new car or if you want to rent, make sure to head over to the great folks over at Greenwood. No one will take better care of you than them. Great sales representatives, and you'll hear from a lot of them throughout our broadcast because we have it feels like a different representative from Greenwood for each school that we cover. So no matter who you're watching, you're going to see a different face from Greenwood Chevrolet.
Tracy Bryden's mine, so
I know. I'm a little bit of a floater, so I get to see a little bit of everybody. So that's
I think I see a different one when I'm doing the Portage County schools, like Waterloo, Garfield, than I see with
like when Fitch is playing Boardman. I'm sure you add the Boardmans to the Greenwood.
I think that I feel like you're right because every week, our the Magic Man himself, Brian Scott, he's able to go in and update all those ads on us too, on all of our computers as well before games. He gets us set with our ad roll. I always see him pop on random times. That's why I like to get there, have everything set up because I always expect Brian to just jump on and start editing some stuff.
Get on there.
Just start throwing some stuff.
It can be. I tell you, it can be like nerve wracking because usually if Brian gets on, there's a problem. So like if there's like a half an hour. There's a half an hour to game time, and Brian pops on the screen. I'm like, oh, God, what am I doing wrong?
He usually shoots me a text, like, just updating some ads, too.
Right, like, oh, God, here we go. Oh, man, that's funny. All right, we go to the next game in the finals from football. It's Liberty on a little bit of a streak, 20-6. They get the win over Newton Falls on homecoming, their last home game of the season. And they're striding at the right time.
Anthony and you and I both picked the Leopards too in last week's action too, and I was riding that same wavelength as you.
Because I also went against the company and I picked VASJ.
I was looking at
I couldn't believe that like I did not see a blowout for Ursuline coming. I was just.
Yeah, I know. It's tough too. These football scores are so tough. It's any given Friday. You never know what to expect. But I was with you. I thought after that
he's kicking it.
Yeah.
You see those totals? It's like he's lost like 16 games all season. It's ridiculous.
Sigler is the man.
I think he's paying Richie under the table to change his picks on Friday.
He probably last second. Like halftime changes whoever's leading. Like I want whoever leads at halftime.
Hey, Richie, here's a 20. I actually picked Liberty.
He's just
All right.
in the red for like we don't win anything from this. Like he's just paying Richie off to win a pick.
I just want respect.
He wants to respect that badly that he's just gonna start losing money
Richie's like, all right. I mean, if you want the ball, I'll take it.
just to get the best picks.
It cost me $300, but I won.
For no trophy, not a jacket, or it's like congratulations.
Not a bonus, nothing. Just a handshake and
Friendly
some
competition.
love in our group
That'd
chat.
be hilarious.
Maybe some bragging rights.
Siggy's taking it next level. Anything to win.
Well, you paid a lot of people off to win our contest, so you know.
Oh my
You
god!
and Siggy are the same as far as I'm concerned. You
No.
never actually beat me. You cheated all the time.
Never be. I've never actually lost a quote from
You
it.
definitely cheated that one week of Price is Right where you had like 20,000 votes in 30 minutes. You cheated.
I got 20,000 people.
Yeah. You
Grabbed 20,000 of my closest friends, tossed them.
got some bots in there, and you went at it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. Liberty gets to win 20-6. They're on a 3-game winning streak now. The Leopards. Ty, where are they sitting in the playoffs? And they got to be getting close.
Let me double check and see. I believe. Let me see if I'm in the right region. I think they're
last
5.
week is 18.
They are in region 17. Yeah, they are. They're 16. They're in the playoffs right now, 3-4. And yeah, they were trending in the right direction. And I think that champion win was huge. And I think honestly, what we've seen from Liberty as of late is just their ability to score at a lot better clips. And this was a team that scored a combined 34 points in their first 4 weeks of football. And now in the last 3 weeks, they have scored 97. So it's a team that's now averaging almost over 30 points a week now. And that's the biggest thing they were missing. Their defense at points has shown that they were able to hang in there at times, but it's the offense that they were missing. They got that spark plug, and Lawrence Watson is playing phenomenal under center in recent weeks. He had that big 4 touchdown game last week, and he's a huge reason why they come up and get the win against Newton Falls this week.
Watson is good at Liberty Sports.
Yeah, they do great. They do great over there too in Leopard Country, and they got a favorable matchup too with LeBray talking about the Leopards this year.
Where have we heard that before?
You're gonna see it on the you see it on the volleyball court, and you're gonna see it on the basketball court as well.
You wait, senior season, it's gonna be big. On
He's
basketball,
not having a bad volleyball season either, too. Talking about Demi Watson,
middle blocker, also can hit on the outside. She's a good player for volleyball.
Yeah.
East Liverpool got hit again, and it was another tough game against Canton Central Catholic, 49-6. The Potters drop this one. We move on. You have something?
It's a learning season for the Potters too, and you know what, they're gonna be able to take these experiences, and a lot of these younger players that are getting the playing time now, it's gonna be valuable for them going forward too. And I mean, just wait, Potters. It's all a part of a process. I know we hate saying that in sports too, but these games and these experiences this season for especially these younger players, they're gonna pay off once they're older for sure.
If you buy in and you find the right people at the top, seasons can turn around really quick. Edison's proof.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got good kids down there in East Liverpool, so there's no doubt in my mind too. You get the kids to buy in, you can definitely get that program right back where it needs to be.
We go from East Liverpool to their rivals, Beaver Local, who are on just an absolute rampage.
Tearing it up.
Warpath, whatever you want to call it, they're on it. They win again in just mammoth fashion. 56-13 over Indian Creek. Not even a doubt in anyone's mind who the better team was. Since week 2, it's been Beaver Local just gashing people. I'm trying to find like a non-violent word to use because I don't want to get too disturbing. But what they've been doing has just been like horror movie type bludgeoning to teams.
They really have looked incredible, and you want to talk about in this winning streak that they're on, 6 consecutive games. 4 of those 6 games they have scored 50 points, 55 points or more. 3 of them they've scored
over 60.
Yeah, 3 over 60, and one of those games over 40. Lowest scoring game in this stretch was 31. But I will say this upcoming test could possibly be their toughest of the season, as Region 5 Division 2 John Hay comes to Beaver Local, and it's a good John Hay team. They're ranked number 9 in the region, same region as Fitch, and they've had some pretty solid wins under their belt. But you look at the wins that they do have under their belt. Rhodes is a solid one. John Marshall, solid one. But the loss that they have against Scott, 6-2, 14-6 in that one. But the other ones I'm seeing, 0-8 Cleveland Central Catholic, 0-8 Orange, 0-4 East Technical. So some questionable wins on John Hay's schedule too. They have a couple good ones. I will say that they have a couple good ones, but some questionable wins on their schedule too.
Rewind. East Technical.
Yeah, I don't know where East Technical Division 3 Region 9. They're 0-4 on the season, so they might not be playing. They're playing football anymore. I think they were done. No, actually, they didn't start until September 16th. So
good old East Tech.
East Tech. But toughest challenge, I guess you would say. But honestly, for Beaver Local, I think this is going to be huge for them as far as computer points are concerned, because a 7-1 Division 2 Region 5 team is going to be huge computer points for Beaver Local if they could pull off this win. And I mean, you'll probably see that propel the Beavers in some form or fashion in that Division 4 Region 13 computer.
They could vie for that 2 seed still, right?
They can get as much as 25 points if they the max average if they win out. So they can get as much as 25 points. The minimum average if they win out is going to be I had them. Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. 19. So they definitely, they can get up to the 2 spot with the minimum average if they win out is the 2 spot.
Right. Lowville, they continue to run through the MVAC 36-13. No problems. That's actually a low score for Lowville. 36. What are you doing? 36-13 over McDonald. The Rockets are still undefeated on the year.
Yeah, and nice.
You set up a big matchup this week with Middle Ridge, which should be the last big test on the schedule for the Rockets in the MVAC.
It really should be, and the Rockets still have a chance to come up with the 2 seed. Not gonna likely catch JFK at 1, but St. Paul.
There's no way.
St. Paul is only 0.25 ahead of Lowville right now. So there's still a great chance for the Rockets to secure number 2. And that'd be really nice to say. Region 25, we got YSN at number 1 and number 2 in the seeds.
I would be shocked if JFK doesn't have like a huge lead at 1, because there's an Ohio RPI site that just ranks strength of schedule. And they have JFK with the hardest schedule in the state of Ohio in Division 7.
I believe it too. Yeah, they have 18 points right now, so they're about 6.5 points ahead of Norwalk St. Paul, which sits in the 2 spot right now. And it's because
I don't think anyone can catch them, even if they lost out.
They haven't played a Division 7 school this year. They were supposed to play St. Thomas Aquinas before that got canceled, but I mean the wins that JFK have range from Division 5 all the way up to Division 3. On the season. So, I mean, they have plenty of great wins and plenty of high computer point wins on the season as well. But speaking on Lowville's spot, it's still a great chance for the Rockets to get themselves into the 2 spot. And this is, like you said, going to be their toughest challenge. And I'm kind of curious. This is another one of those, I think, premier matchups, games of the week that we got to look at. Because for this one, it's Lowville, it's Mineral Ridge, and it's still a chance for Mineral Ridge to grab a piece of the conference crown.
Look at this. If Mineral Ridge wins, it goes Mineral Ridge with 1 loss, Springfield with 1 loss, Lowville with 1 loss, and it gets chaotic.
It does.
Because Jackson Milton's lost twice in the MVAC, if I'm not mistaken. So it would be a 3-way tie.
Yeah, because Jackson Milton lost to both Lowville and to Mineral Ridge. So Mineral Ridge is playing for it, and Lowville's looking to outright win it. Because if Lowville wins it, Lowville's 1 loss on the season.
Hey, look, there's Bellevue again. We talked about them earlier in the show.
What was that?
I said, there's Bellevue again. We brought them up earlier in the show because they lost as a 1 seed last year.
Yeah.
And Perkins beat them this year.
Yeah.
Poor Bellevue.
Mineral Ridge's one loss. I said Lowville, but Mineral Ridge's one loss came against Springfield.
Came against Springfield late, 20-12.
So,
but that's their only loss. Springfield just has the one loss to Lowville, and obviously Lowville is undefeated. So if Lowville loses, then it's that 3-way tie. Don't know how they'd handle that.
It's going to be a great matchup, though. This is going to be another fantastic matchup. But every time it's again seemed like similar to what we've seen in Division 5 with South Range. Lowville's been the same way. Like anytime you try to like build up an opponent for the Rockets as like deeming them this could be the team that does it, they take them down. Like Springfield was the 1 week where like they had a shot at beating Lowville, but even then, like late game clinching drives by Boulogne.
It was a close game, and it still ended up 42-24 Rockets.
It was close game.
You watch that game, you're like, oh, dang, Springfield has a chance. And then you look at the final score, you're like, what in the world? Well, what happened was Vinny Boulogne said no more, and I'm taking this and I'm running away with it.
Yeah. I mean, you build up Jackson, Milton the very next week, and it's a 62-20 winner for them. Then we build up Waterloo because Waterloo kept it close with
3 points
last year, and then they beat Waterloo emphatically. And I mean, that's just kind of been the MO of Lowville since the start of the conference schedule. Is there's always been a team that's been built up to that could take that spot from them or knock them off their perch, but they just keep on soaring, man. They got one more, I think, real test. Not that Western Reserve's a pushover in Week 10 by any means, but this is one more big, serious test for the Rockets to answer for the conference crown.
I want to see how much Mineral Ridge has learned from that loss to Springfield because they're going to have to find a way to score more than 12 points. I'll tell you that much. They're not going to hold Lowville under 12. So
I find, and you know what, the 62-20 win, very impressive on Lowville's end. Take nothing away from it, but I find the 42-7 win against Jackson Milton by Mineral Ridge just as impressive on the Rams' part to defensively hold the Blue Jays like they did and also score that kind of points. I think it proved to me that they're ready to take this matchup as like they are that team that's going to contend for the conference crown. Like they set themselves apart, I think, with that Jackson Milton win.
And remember, Mineral Ridge played Springfield after Springfield lost to Lowville. So it was a desperate Springfield team that would do anything to win that game. And they were not going to win 5.
And it was a close game too. It's not like Springfield blew Mineral Ridge out of the water either. It was a close 20-12 win.
12-12 late. Springfield scored a late touchdown to make it 20-12.
So this is going to be a great matchup. Both sides of the MVAC have a conference championship on the line right now.
Struthers, they're still, like we talked about them earlier, doing good after that tough start to the season. 27-13, they get the win over Niles.
I got a soft spot for the Wildcats, man, and I really want to see them. I want to see them get into
a soft spot for like 5 different schools.
I do, but I like the Wildcats too, and I really like how the Wildcats have responded this season too, and they've really put it together. They didn't let the 1-4 start derail them. It didn't keep them down in the dumps, and 2 overtime losses in that. They came out, emphatically beat Lakeview, and they looked angry, emphatically beat Jefferson area and looked angry still. And they came out with a nice quality win against a Niles McKinley team that has very much improved over the last few weeks as well. Since the injuries that they've had, the players that they have had have gotten some playing time, and they've stepped up too, and they've definitely improved in recent weeks. It's going to be interesting, though, for the Wildcats because they got to play 2 teams now in their same region that are ranked. Number 2, Girard this week, and then they're also going to have to play number 5, Poland, in Week 10. But this is an opportunity for Struthers at 16. They want to climb that ladder, get themselves into a better positioning in the playoffs. This is their opportunity to do it.
I think a lot of people just call them dead right after that overtime loss to Hubbard. It's like, well, okay. Good luck next year, Struthers.
Yeah.
They said, not so fast, my friend. This matchup against Girard is going to be a good one because Girard this week was kind of like, we're back. We got off the mat. I like to use that analogy this year, getting off the mat. Girard got off the mat this week and got a big win. So it's going to be a much more interesting matchup than I thought it was going to be maybe going into this week because the previous 2 weeks, Gerard just looked like they were scuffling. They couldn't find an answer to their injury problems. But this week, they kind of they got it back together, and I think that's going to be a good game.
I just to point out too with Struthers and just how they've learned and how they've improved since the non-conference slate where they allowed 42 points in back-to-back weeks to Geneva and Streetsboro. Struthers has not allowed over 30 points in the last 5 weeks, and they've only allowed over 20 points twice, and that's at South Range and Hubbard. And that was 23 and 21. Like, it's a defense that has really locked down and played really solid against a tough NE8 conference.
Yeah, and you got 2 teams left. Like Gerard, when they're healthy, offense looks really good, but they're still going to have a lot of stuff to figure out without a healthy roster on offense. So that could be a good chance for a good defensive.
Gerard also, I felt
Poland's offense isn't lighting the world on fire. So 2 games back to back where your defense is going to be putting really
50-50 games, in my opinion, for both of them, too. And, I mean, you got to come up with the coin flip in one of them, right? You got to win at least one more, I figure, if you're Struthers to get yourself into that good playoff positioning, because it's going to be a good win. Either of them would be.
Let's talk about Ursuline, what they did against Villa Anna St. Joe's. Holy smokes.
They were angry.
Like, just 40-0 is the final score. This was a game that was – wait, how did it go last year? Did VASD win this game last year?
I actually believe you might be correct, Anthony. And
you have to check me on that.
I'll check you right now. I'll look at it. I'll look at Ursuline right now because I can.
This is a talented VASD
yeah,
team.
they lost a little bit from last year, but they did have a good team. Yeah, VASJ beat Ursuline last year 46-28 last year on October 8th. Same scenario. 40-0 this year, this time around.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, everybody. Anyone that was doubting Ursuline after their 2 losses or doubting their ability to make a playoff run, I think VASD would be one of the teams that would stand in their way. And
Ursuline, too, number 3 seed. I want to remind everyone, number 3 seed in Division 4 last year. Nothing's changed. Moving up a division, still number 3 seed. Like, and there was some of those rumblings too before the season about Ursuline moving up. Now, now they're gonna get a taste of their own medicine playing these higher division schools. They're fine.
No, because the thing is, like, even when they were Division 4, they played these schools.
Yeah.
So it's not like going up a division, made them all of a sudden have to play up or no. What's gonna happen is like, okay, well, now we're just playing the same schools we've been playing in the playoffs instead of playing a division lower in the playoffs.
They're playing too. Well, it's kind of jumbled and it's kind of mismatched now because
VASJ coming into that week.
Yeah. What was that?
What was what was their record coming into this week? 40-0 for VASJ.
They were 6-1 going into this week, but they were ranked lower actually. They're only 15 right now in the rankings.
6-1 coming into week 8, and did that.
It's not the same team. They lost a lot too, but they did beat
I get it.
Partly.
It's a very talented Villa Anna St. Joe's team.
Yeah, Villa Angela St. Joe's also beat a Bishop Hartley team. Again, that's not the same Bishop Hartley team as they were a year ago, but nonetheless a good Bishop Hartley team, 21-20 the week prior to Ursuline.
That's Ursuline's. I know they beat Cheney this year, but in my opinion, that's their most impressive win of the season. Just to do that to a team of that caliber.
Yeah, because that Cheney game was close too, and that was just a close fought. Like, this was an impressive game through and through, offensively, defensively. Like, Ursuline just flat out said we're a better football team.
If there was a top 25 in like high school football, like there is in college, that'd be a top 25 matchup. And it would be like 3 versus 15, which in college football, that's a prime time game. That should be competitive. That's 40-0. That's like, we are just that much better than you, and we know it. And if you see us in the playoffs, watch out.
Right now, in that division, in that Region 9 for Division 3, Canfield, Ursuline, Cheney are 2-3-4 right now. with Chardon taking the top spot currently, but nonetheless, three YSN teams that would be hosting 2 playoff games. You love to see it.
Incredible what Urson was able to do this week. We go to the next game. Carrollton pulls off the win over Salem, and neither defense could stop the other. Carrollton's run game got all they wanted, and Salem was able to get all they wanted. It just came down to kind of like some of Urson games last year. What defense made that one stop? Like, we need one stop, one play, and it was Carrollton. Salem had the ball late with a chance to take the lead. Carrollton got the stop. Salem didn't have any timeouts left. They needed out the game, and that was pretty much it. But neither defense was able to really, until that last drive, at least for Carrollton, neither defense was able to slow down the other.
And, Salem just wants to get themselves back on a streak right now. They've kind of been like flip-flopping, win-loss the last 6 weeks right now after opening up the season with 3 straight wins. They're trying to get back and get momentum. And, I mean, it can be maddening, I can imagine, for Coach Johnson, too, because it's like you put everything together one week, you get the win, and then some things just don't go your way the next week, and you come up a bit short. But hey, Salem's got plenty that they've learned from. They've played in plenty of close games. Just gotta figure out how to get those clinching runs.
And they have West Branch in 2 weeks, so they got 1 week to figure it out, and then they have another really good offense to contend with coming into Salem, I think, this year.
No, Salem going
West Branch.
Yeah, okay. West Branch is hosting this year. But this is a good opportunity for them to get a win, like you said, and against Marlington, and definitely revenge on the mind of the Quakers after last year.
Yeah, absolutely. But Carrollton's a team that I think West Branch has next week, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you are right. I'll double check that. No, they have them this week. Carrollton plays West Branch.
I meant like the net. Like I.
Yeah, Carrollton finishes out with Minerva week 10, but for week 9, for this week coming up, this next week.
We're off the track, but I just made that mistake. But I hate when people say next week when they mean like. In my mind, next week means week 10, right? Like this week is week 9.
Yeah.
If I say next Friday, I mean not this Friday, next Friday.
Yeah, they play them this week.
There are people that kind of get in my mind when they say next Friday, but they meant like the next Friday on the schedule, which would be this Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure right there, but I just wanted to confirm. Yeah, Carrollton and West Branch.
I just did it to myself.
October 14th.
I can't get too mad at people for doing it, but I'm like at the same time, it really throws me off because I think this Friday. I don't know where other people stand. If you're in the comments, Anthony, you're crazy, you're nuts. No one says it's all next, whatever. Or if you agree with me, that's cool too. I like
I'll take it.
I'll take it. It doesn't happen too often. Let's be honest, my takes are hot. And that's my hot take of the day.
There you go.
It's this Friday. Friday should have been called this Friday. The sequel should have been next Friday.
There you go.
Oh, man. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have more football recaps and power rankings for this week on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Shealy's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find flex deal and more at Shealy's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but 2 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs,
Call Myers Family Insurance.
Or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Klin.
Hi, this is Steve Bracetto. Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mill Creek Metro Parks is your park for all seasons. Make a memory in the park. Plan your visit today at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. Down Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this Monday recap edition. And Ty, we still got some games to get to, and we also have to get to this week's power rankings. So let's get right to it. We left off with, I believe, nope, not that one. We left off with Carrollton beating Salem 39-34. Salem drops their second game of the season. Let's go to Wyndham. They won 28-15 on Friday. Good to see the Bombers bounce back from their tough loss last week. Girard, like I said earlier, got off the mat. They got the big win over Hubbard. This was a game where 2 teams were going in opposite directions, right? Hubbard was streaking up. Hubbard was streaking up. Girard was streaking down a little bit. And Girard knocked that back and kind of reversed the tables on the Eagles. 49-14, Indians get the win. And they stay in the 2 spot in the playoff rankings. Columbiana gets Coach Spate's 200th career victory at the helm of the Clippers. They beat East Palestine 46-14. First win of the season for the Clippers. Congratulations to a great guy. Great guy, great coach. We have so much respect for Coach Spate. He's done a lot for us at YSN. We've had Columbiana since since the word go. And he's been a great guy. We've had plenty of coaches' corners with him. And we couldn't congratulate him more on his 200th career victory. That's a lot of years put in for football. You only get a guaranteed 10 per season. So to get 200, he's put in the work, put in the time. So 46-14 Clippers get the win. Garfield absolutely steamrolls Crestview 62-22 as they set up that meeting we were talking about earlier with Brookfield this week as the MVAC first place is on the line. Orange lost to Perry over the weekend 42-9. The Pirates are going to be a team that you got to watch out for in Division 5 outside of the YSN family, because they're going to have something to say. They were the team that West Branch beat, but it was a close game in that regional semifinal last year before getting to Ursuline in the regional final, and they moved from D4 to D5. So a lot of people talking about South Range and Garaway, rightfully so. Those are two great Division 5 teams. Don't forget about the Perry Pirates. And if you're talking football, this is the one I want to talk about. Big win for a program, big upset for Campbell, 21-14. They knocked down Champion, and the Red Devils scored first. They set the tone, went right down the field, scored a touchdown, and then their defense just kind of held Champion in check. This explosive Champion offense with Joey Fell under center couldn't get rolling, and Campbell did enough. Both their wins this season by the score of 21-14. For the Red Devil.
Good win for Camel too, and I mean you can't have no qualms with that too. It's a team that put everything together and proved once again any given Friday, throw records out the window. It could be our week any week.
I'm happy for Camel. They've been through a lot this year. They've had a couple of teams come into their place off of losses and just kind of let out all their frustrations on the Red Devils. They've definitely taken their lumps this year. It was good to see them not just compete with a good team, but actually beat a good team, 21-14. This could be a game and a win that is the start of a turnaround in Camel football, because they are a good, proud program with winning history. They've been a good team. I mean, I remember in the when I was in elementary school in the 90s, Camel was right up there. South Range used to play them on their schedule because they were a team that you had to play if you wanted to be a good football team. You had to get Camel on there because they were going to test you. So I remember back in those days, and they might be on a struggle period right now, but this win could be something that kind of catapults them forward into a program turnaround. So happy for the Red Devils. They get the big win on their home field. They beat Champion 21-14. Champion side of things doesn't help matters when they're fighting for playoff spots.
No, it doesn't, and you know what? It's just going to make the path a little bit tougher, and it's they never come easy too. And for Champion right now, they're going to have to try to figure out a way they can get some wins these next couple weeks.
Where do the Flashes sit?
I'm going to have to
Division
look.
5, Region 17.
Right now, Champion is 17. Liberty is at 16 now.
Ooh. Champion
has Crestview and Brookfield too.
Okay, so they have two games that could get them points, but they're tough games for sure.
Made the path a little bit tougher for sure.
I know, we'll have to see.
You never know.
South Range, this is like the last chance in the NE8 for someone to claim the top spot. South Range said no, 42-7. They beat Jefferson rather handedly, and I could be wrong, but I'm thinking like I don't think anyone else has less than 2 losses in the conference at this point. So South Range has a 2-game lead going into week 9. It's pretty much, I mean, it's locked up for South Range, the NE8 championship.
Yeah, probably so. And another
Hubbard losing was like the last domino to fall, because Hubbard was a team with just 1 loss in the conference, I think. Right, won the conference, just that one to Poland.
So yeah,
before last week, just that one to Poland.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, South Range has a 2-game lead in the NE8 with 2 games left.
Yeah, and it looks to be another conference championship coming down to it for the Raiders.
Unless things get nuts.
You never know, too.
Get wild, and Lakeview and Hubbard both pull off upsets.
You never know week to week. You gotta
never say never. You never give it to them until it's crowned. But South Range, if there's something better than the driver's seat they can be sitting in, they're sitting in that. What's better than a driver's seat, Ty? Pilot seat, rocket seat,
perhaps
catbird seat. That's a baseball term, isn't it? Sitting in the catbird seat. I don't know. South Range, once again, they're just one of those teams. You can say what you will, they're a Division 5 team. But they just consistently win emphatically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, like I said, they're definitely closing in, and it looks like they're going to be crowned NEA champions again. But there's a reason we play games week in and week out, too. And there's a reason why we play those games, too. So can't crown them yet. Still got to take care of business, but they are going to be favorited, I would figure, the next 2 weeks in these matchups. And one win is all it will take for them to call themselves champions again.
This week against Lakeview, South Range can clinch the NE8. Springfield continues their run in the MVAC 21-0. They beat Western Reserve, a shutout for the Tigers defense. Then you go to Poland, 2 shutouts in a row to report, because Poland and Lakeview got in a defensive battle, and it was the Bulldogs from Poland that had just a little bit better defense. 9-0. They get the win over Lakeview. Lakeview has dropped 3 in a row now as they continue to try to figure things out in the NE8 as programs turn around. That's for sure. They were winless last year. They have 3 wins under their belt this year, but they're trying to kind of get some rhythm and hopefully for them end the season on a positive note for Lakeview.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking to grab some more wins too. Already have more wins than they did a year ago. So just looking, like you said, positive note to end the season on.
Boardman drops 1 to Dover at home, 28-10, and this is why that loss to West Warren Harding hurt so bad for Boardman, because now you go into Dover. That was almost a must-win game, and now you have Austintown, Fitch, and Canfield the next 2, and those are they're high mountains to climb. They're games where Boardman is going to be the underdog for sure, but they need one of those wins to get into the playoffs. There's no way to get around it. They need to beat Canfield or Fitch. I think one will do it, especially if it's Fitch, because Fitch will be up in Division 2. But the Boardman needs that win. They need one of them bad.
They absolutely do, and I mean, they're running out of time to get it. So Spartan's going to have to figure out a game plan that could come up with a win against one of those birds, as Spartans are going to go bird hunting the next couple weeks.
Ty, you've seen Fitch enough. What is we say this all the time? You can have the blueprint, doesn't mean you have the architects to execute it. What do you think is the blueprint to beat Fitch? You've seen him enough to know what teams do when they succeed against them, or what, like, when drives go right, what kind of are the things that they have. So what do you think is the blueprint that Boardman has to try to execute to beat Fitch?
You got to have successful line play, and you got to keep it within the tackles. Honestly, it comes down to that. And there's glimpses of it. Wadsworth did it well at times too. They got
Maslin, right? Maslin ran all
Maslin did it perfectly against the Falcons and just dominated the line play. But Wadsworth was doing it well at times where they were getting that penetration, getting tackles for loss, stopping the Falcons right there. You need successful line play, and it's tough because Fitch has a lot of size too. But not that Wadsworth didn't have size, but they were using size, but they were also, feeding those linebackers and putting in those all-out blitzes from time to time, utilizing one linebacker on a blitz at times as well. Just trying to get extra pressure on that line too, get as many guys into that backfield, pressure Vaughn, pressure the backs too when they're touching the ball, because that's the thing I feel like one of the keys if you're trying to beat the Falcons, you got to force them into quick time decision makings too. And just hope that they make the wrong one too. And if you have reinforcements keeping it between the tackles, of course, easier said than done. But Maslin did that really well, where they kept it in the tackles. They forced Vaughn into a pocket, and he just had to strictly pass. He was able to get some great passes off, but really limited that run game.
Maslin gave you the blueprint. The question is, do you have the architects to execute that blueprint? That's going to be what Boardman will have to answer.
Or can you come up with the pieces to kind of shimmy that's similar?
Order this piece straight from China real quick? I mean, like this funky wrench that fits into this hole. Can we get that in there? Then Boardman will have to try to do it because they need a win in one of the next 2 weeks. Mineral Ridge sets up a big matchup with Lowville that we already talked about a little bit earlier on in the show. They win over Sebring 49-14. The Rams are still rolling, just one loss on the season. Canfield has no rust after missing a week. They beat East, 48-0. Then we go into Lisbon, who beat Latonia in the Spaghetti Bowl. I want some spaghetti. 41-6 for the Blue Devils. They get a good win. Cheney They drill Howland 42-0. Mooney with an impressive comeback over Warren Harding. They were down 17-7. They win 26-17.
That was a great win for Mooney too, and it was one they really needed, honestly, in this Division 5 computer rankings, because now they're at 11 and they have a really good chance they could control their own destiny these next couple weeks. It's Steubenville, it's Ursuline, two tough opponents, no doubt, but a win against either one for Mooney, I would think, clinches a spot in the playoffs for the Cardinals.
Last final to come in for the night is Glen Oak beating Louisville 48-13 as the Owls kind of cool off the Leopards after the Leopards win last week. So Glen Oak gets the win in Louisville in Canton, actually. It was in Glen Oak. They get the win at home 48-13 over Louisville. So that's the final scores of Friday. And with all those scores put in, that means our voters get to put in their brains, rack them up, and say what they think. And every vote's different. That's what makes the power rankings so unique. Everyone has their voice heard, that they get to vote. And this is how it shaped up in Week 8. Ty South Range holds on to the one spot. They are 8-0 on the season. And then Fitch is 2 at 7-1. Cheney is 3 at 7-1. Undefeated Lowville keeps that 4 spot locked in. Then West Branch moves up to 5. Canfield moves up to 6. You have JFK at 7. Valley Christian at 8. Newcomer Brookfield comes in at 9. Edison stays in at 10. Brookfield replaces Southern as the lone new member of the power rankings, and it's Brookfield's first spot in the power rankings. They've been kind of waiting in that bubble all year long. They finally get an opening, and they take it. 7-1 Brookfield. At 9, Edison undefeated again at 10.
Allow me to say to any of our voters as well, the winner of this Brookfield Garfield team, the matchup needs to be on the power rankings next week.
So if Brookfield wins, they stay on. If they lose, Garfield takes.
Yeah, I don't care where we need to find a spot for them. We need to just find a spot for the winner of that game, because Brookfield definitely stays on, but I think Garfield wins. They definitely need to make their first. Or what would it be? Second appearance, I think, on these power rankings. I think they've made one before.
Okay, Ty, there are a lot of things already being commented on about the power rankings. They've been up for about 2 hours. The first thing people are noticing real quick is, hey, Fitch is not number 1. And there are a lot of people in Austintown that are a little scratching their heads over that. And, they think Fitch would beat South Range in a head-to-head matchup, and maybe they would, but at the end of the day, South Range is undefeated against a schedule that is not their division. They go up almost every game they play. They've beaten everybody in front of them. You can't say that it's a slouch schedule by any means. And they're undefeated, and Fitch isn't. And that's just got to be the difference.
It's not all about the record either, too, because we have plenty of 8-0 teams that are kind of peppered within a bunch of 1-loss teams. It's about schedule. It's about the teams you play, how you played them too. There's a lot of factors that go into
schedule based on who you are, right? So South Range is sitting in Division 5. They have went out and played Division 2 teams, Division 3 teams. Almost their whole conference is up a division except for Lakeview, who they'll play this week that's in Division 5. So they are constantly the smallest team on the field division-wise. And they went 8-0. And you could say Fitch would beat them. Maybe they would. I would argue that they should. If Fitch doesn't beat South Range, there's something wrong if they played head-to-head. But at the end of the day, sorry about your luck, Fitch. You took a loss. You're number 2 because you're still, in our opinion, one of the best teams in the family. So you're sitting at number 2, but you're just not going to take that one spot at this point. In my opinion, that's my vote, and everyone else gets a vote. But my vote goes that way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see next couple of weeks too how things pan out too. We still got 2 weeks of the regular season, and then of course playoffs start as well. And there's a few other teams that are undefeated right now. There's a few other teams too that are 1-loss teams that are definitely on the outside looking in. I think there's teams such as Ursuline with 2 losses that have a chance to maybe even get an appearance on this power ranking again. It's going to be interesting to see how the season shakes out, because we've already seen anything happens on Friday night.
These are the opinions. Bill says I see 5 teams that are better than South Range on this list. So maybe, I don't know. I mean,
if we're looking at it head to head, I mean, sure, but we don't have like a lower division and a higher division power ranking. This is power rankings, and this is based off of everything. Every kind of factor goes into it. All kinds of votes go into it as well. Everyone gets a vote. Everyone has an opinion on it as well, and all that gets factored in and tallied up for points. And this is how it shuffles out. There's a few teams that have a gripe that aren't even featured on this power ranking right now that can definitely make a case to be on one as well. Some one-loss teams, like I said, that are not featured on here that definitely should be, but you never know. You never know. We have 2 more Fridays going on in the football season, regular season at least. And we already saw this last week. Wild things happen, especially late in season. These guys, all these teams are pretty much at full strength. Maybe not like injury wise, but full strength as far as like they're prepared physically, they're prepared mentally, they're in the week to week grind of a football season. These are the best you see these teams too, and a lot of these football teams are put together. So schedule does not get easier late in the season.
What I like about South Range's work, one of the things that I think is a little bit of a difference, they had a chance to lose a game. Like, they didn't play well against Struthers, and they found a way to win. And then other teams that lost, they didn't play well in those losses, and they couldn't find a way to win. And can you win when you're not playing your best? I think is a good quality to look at. So South Range, you look at that Struthers game, they did not play well. They had 6 turnovers. But they still did their job, and they went out and they won the game. And I think there's something to be said about teams that are able to win when they're not playing their best.
At the end of the day, too, it's all about the ultimate goal: getting to the tournament, getting to the playoffs, and getting your team and program on a nice run. And obviously, first and foremost, win a conference if you're in one.
And all these teams are in, like, locked. Right. Yeah. So there's no one on this list that's like, I'm going to miss the playoffs.
At the end of the day, folks, take it with a grain of salt, because we're all sports fans at heart too, and we're all throwing votes into a pool too. It's nothing too serious at the end of the day.
I really kind of boggled my mind on how far to move up West Branch, because I was impressed with the win, because it was.
I can't believe how far West Branch moved up, though. That was.
Well, they were what? They were 6-5. They moved up 1 spot.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, but I can't believe how far they've moved up in the last few weeks. They've climbed into the top.
This
5.
was the win I was waiting for, because the Alliance was, it was for first place in the conference. That adds a little bit of boost to it. Alliance might have been on this list last week if they were a Ysn school. You don't know. The Aviators were sitting at the same record as West Branch, and they did the same thing against the same teams pretty much. So I was kind of like, how far does West Branch move? That was a big win for them. I think if they would have won a little bit more emphatically, they would have moved a little bit higher in my mind. And then Valley Christian, that was a big game, and they kind of showed up. And then once again, I think if it was a little bit less close, they might move a little bit higher. It didn't seem. I couldn't put them in. Actually, I think I did put them in front of JFK. In fact, I think I put Valley Christian pretty high on this one. On this week, I think I actually did put stock in the fact that they went to Southern and basically won the conference championship. On the road. I think that was pretty impressive.
That is very impressive too.
So I'll say it, like, because we're transparent with how we voted. I gave Valley Christian a little bit more respect than this list does.
Hey, and I mean, that's all right. Everyone gets a vote. That's exactly why
they might not beat West Branch and Canfield and JFK head to head, but the fact is they were conference championship de facto, not official, but all but on the line, on the road, and they took care of business. That's impressive.
Hey, and I mean, everyone has their own reasons why they vote. Vote for why they vote, the reasons why they do, and the order why they do for the teams. And
if it was strictly head to head, let's be real, like Ursuline would probably be on this list somewhere.
Absolutely.
There's some teams on this list that Ursuline would probably beat. if it was head to head. But the fact is, Ursuline has 2 losses on their schedule, and that's got to be calculated.
Absolutely, and I mean we see that our voters have obviously calculated that into their voting.
Right. All right, we do this every week. What are some bubble teams for you? I know you already said Garfield. Who else is sitting on the outside looking in for you?
Mineral Ridge. If they beat Lowville, Mineral Ridge is another team that's I think immediate bet 'em, drop Lowville and insert Mineral Ridge. I think that they'd be leaders or at least grabbing a piece of conference championship. So I think Ursuline too, despite the 2 losses, I do think Ursuline, if some of these teams drop a game, have a case to make an appearance, especially after the way they beat VASJ too. Like that was impressive. Like I think Ursuline's making a case to make an appearance.
No one that votes yet has voted like what you look like now. Forget about the body of work as a complete season. Like, because if that was the case, there'd be a couple of Ursuline. Because what you look like now, like with that win over VASJ, that was like a statement, right? So, but to this point, everyone's kind of voted with the mind of body of work over what you look like at this very moment.
I think too. I mean, me personally, I take a body of work as a whole, but I also am like, what have you done for me lately? And for me, Ursuline was a bubble team last week. They were at like, I think 11-12 for me. I put them in the power rankings this week. I voted for them flat out because I thought that win was impressive to get them back into the list. But, other people saw differently. I think the one team that I didn't have on that list, if I'm being transparent, in the top 10, I might not have had Brookfield on the list. Honestly, I think I might not have had Brookfield. I could actually.
You wanted to wait this week. You wanted to wait until this week to put.
I think I was waiting this week to the winner of this game. I was putting on the power rankings. Yeah. Let me look at what I did. Yeah, I didn't have Brookfield. I had Ursuline in place of Brookfield, but everyone else that's on this list is on my power rankings with the exception of Brookfield.
Who is your number 1?
Number 1 was South Range. Number 2 was Fitch.
There you go. From the guy that covers Fitch.
So, number 3 was Cheney. This is actually the first week I've ranked South Range at number 1, to be completely transparent too.
Okay.
I've
so
only
that being said, what was it this week that was the difference maker for you?
I only ranked Fitch, I think, one week, once or twice at number 1 spot.
That week that they absolutely earned the 1 spot.
I've ranked Canfield number 1, I think, a ton this year too. I thought Canfield's really good, but for me this week it was putting down Jefferson. I felt like Jefferson was really the last test in my mind that South Range needed to pass in the NE8. They answered Gerard emphatically as they needed to. I mean, they knocked down the teams as they needed to week after week. Answered Poland, answered Jefferson. It was those teams and the way they answered them and how South Range won those games after looking bad to Struthers. Because honestly, that game against Struthers, it gave me some doubts in the Raiders going forward. I was like, all right, I wanted to be convinced with what South Range is bringing to the table, but now they look like a well-oiled machine, and the way they beat Jefferson right now it was convincing enough. And 8-0 record combined with the way that they've won those 8 games, and considering that a lot of them are playing up opponents, I think South Range deserves to be on this list.
We're gonna have to make a commercial with South Range, like the This Is Sports Center commercial with the copy machine that's talking to Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Why didn't you eliminate them, Albert? Hey, the machine. Good times. Those are, I would say, the best commercials ever made.
How things could change, though. I mean, how things could be different. Because honestly, fully transparent, if Cheney's 8-0 with South Range, I'm ranking Cheney over South Range and in a number 1 spot if Cheney's 8-0. But that 1 loss to Ursuline hurts them enough and I know it's Ursuline, and I know it's a great opponent, but that also hurts them enough to take them from the number 1 spot. But still, great football team, and I think deserving of some number 1 votes, certainly. But hey, that's why we have plenty of voters. We have the guys we do, and South Range reigns supreme this week.
Let's get a Canfield South Range matchup next season.
That'd be
All right, everybody. Let's just
Battle of Canfield.
Let's just go it. They're right next to each other. Let's just do it.
That'd be fun just to see. I feel like South Range wouldn't be as much as like Canfield. I don't think would like play down or play like bad, but I think a lot of people would be impressed with the level that South Range can compete with.
Like this year, I don't think they respect the fact that like I said, they're other than Lakeview, who they'll play this week, they're the smallest team on the field every time they go out and play. And that means something. You know, they're not playing down divisions or in their own division for almost all their season.
That university school is in the same conference as Canfield. They're ranked 5. They're ranked 5 in the same region as Canfield.
Region, not conference.
Conference, yeah, I'm sorry. Same region as Canfield. Number 5. Canfield sitting at number 2 in Region 9. And South Range beat them emphatically.
All right, Ty. That'll do it for the power rankings and the football recaps. We do have one volleyball game over the weekend that I want to talk about because I'm itching to talk about it. I got to talk about it. Girard welcomed in Crestview. It's a really anticipated matchup. People were looking forward to it all season. And Girard kind of denied us the hyped up matchup that we thought it was going to be. They came into this game and they took care of business, man. It was not close. 25-16, 25-18, 25-23. They swept the Rebels.
And honestly, just like flexing their muscles honestly. And Girard, I think, kind of solidifies themselves like as top team, volleyball team in the YSN coverage map with that, because I texted you after that. I was like, well, you got to win against Canfield, Fitch, Lakeview, and Crestview. Like, that's enough for me. Like, that's a heck of a resume for Girard to have going into the tournament.
Ty, Bree Littell in this game, 23 kills, 2 errors.
It's unbelievable swinging percentage right there.
Lauren Pallone added 13 kills as well. You looked at it, and there's the serve for Girard was giving Crestview problems all day. They had 12 aces as a team. And I think you got to see one of the things that Crestview is going to have to address, and I thought might be an issue when they start to play really good teams, and they'll play another good one tonight, by the way. Their biggest offensive threat. Now, Grace Hour is a great hitter. She definitely is putting up numbers, but their best offensive threat, and the numbers will back me up if you look at them. Abby Emsch is their best offensive threat, but she's a middle blocker. You got to be in system to set your middles. It's really hard to set middle without being in system. As you go through this volleyball and you start to play better servers that can consistently spot serve and attack people that are having bad nights, you got to find ways to get offense out of system. They couldn't do that against Girard. Every time they were out of system, they couldn't get a strong swing out of it. That's what really hurt them, because when you're playing really good volleyball teams, you're not going to be in system all the time. So you're going to have to either find ways to get the ball to Abby Emsch out of system, or you're going to have to find ways to create offense out of system. Because that was one of the things that really held Crestview back.
And Abby Emsch is, I mean, every bit of as fierce
had 13
as
kills.
any of them.
Like, he still had 13 kills on a night where Crestview's offense looked rough. So you need, like, in the middle, that's why a volleyball team, when their middle is leading them in kills, you have to look at it and be like, okay, but if you have a bad passing night, you're going to be in trouble, because it is really hard to set the middle blocker when you're not in system. And that's what really hurt Crestview, I think, against Girard. I think Girard's service was consistent. They stayed away from service errors. They attacked people. They were able to spot serve. One player, won't call her out, not going to call out. One player had a really tough serve receive night, and Girard was able to just keep going right at her, spot serve. And eventually Crestview had to make a change to just flip them around and say, we're going to substitute somebody else in, because they just could not get into system, and that really hurt them.
And honestly, we look at what Girard has done. They've really battled back, despite the couple losses that they've had. They've really battled back. But on the other side for Crestview, I think Coach Auer would agree. This is what they wanted. That's exactly why they.
You got to expose some of your weaknesses, right? You got to know what you're struggling at before you go into tournaments. And they had a tough bracket in district, Ty. I was looking at it before the show because it came out like at 11 a.m. this morning. The number one team in the state went one way. Every other ranked team in the state went the other way with Crestview. So Crestview's got a really tough district.
And that's kind of what you felt like. Everyone was going to play avoidance of one team.
Lake Center was like number one in the state. We took the Medina district. Crestview said, "Okay, we'll go Grand Valley."
All right, we'll see you later then. Nice.
Every other state ranked team in the district went Crestview.
Everyone else
none of them wanted to test themselves and go to Lake. They all just said, "Let's go to Crestview."
All right, that sounds pretty good.
By the way, Crestview, Lakeview, Kirtland, and Middle Ridge are all in the same district, and only one can get out of there, and they're all state ranked.
Crestview was just like, "Oh, you're going there? I'm gonna go," and then everyone was like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna sneak out with Crestview. Actually, we're gonna
out.
We're gonna go. Actually." Oh my goodness!
It's gonna be an easy district for Lake Center. They're just gonna cruise because there's no one in there now that can even contend with them, and it's gonna be a bonkers district for Crestview. Whoever comes out of that will have a good chance of not just winning the region, but I think winning state championship. By the way, those two districts line up with each other this year, so Lake Center will be who you play if you win a district.
Crazy. That's crazy.
In Barberton. So
what's the Purple Palace?
What's really crazy is the districts in Northeast districts for East are in Medina and Grand Valley.
That's wild. Yeah. Grand Valley is a little weird too.
It's in Orville. I mean, that's a good trek.
Yeah, it is.
Medina is even a bigger trek for our area too.
North. You're going north.
So it's gonna be a fun district in Division 3. Garfield. Girard got the 1 seed in Division 2, so congratulations to them. They are our only 1 seed, I believe. Oh geez, now I have to double check this. I am not confident in that because I'm like, wait a minute, where did Wellsville end up getting voted again? No, you're right. Wellsville is the 1 seed too. I'm kind of double checked before I said that emphatically. Girard and Wellsville, both 1 seeds in Divisions 2 and 4. They're both also state ranked, by the way. Girard is state ranked 12th in Division 2, and Wellsville is ranked 11th in Division 4. They're both 1 seeds in their district. Girard will go to the Streetsboro district this year. And Wellsville, I think, I haven't had a chance to see the Division 4, but their districts are actually the only ones that are local. They will either go to Lisbon or Columbiana. So the Division 2 districts are not local. The Division 1 districts are not local. And the Division 3 districts are not local. But going to be fun ones no matter what.
Yeah, there definitely are. And I mean, can't be more excited for the opening start of volleyball playoffs.
Let's go. I think we have some teams that have a chance this year. I really do.
I do too. I mean, we've seen some really good teams, and I mean, those teams we mentioned too, and that kind of bunch. I mean, right now, Crestview, obviously, Girard and Lakeview. You got to look at Mineral Ridge is a great team. East Liverpool's been surprising people. Fitch first, having some youth and some freshmen filling in key positions have been really good. I think a lot better than some people might have expected initially. And I mean, we've seen too, Canfield's coming around late too. Canfield's always dangerous too, especially since they've dropped down a division. So you never know. You never know. It's gonna be a great season, I think.
So what do you say we take one more break? When we come back, we'll go over what's going to be on the network tonight on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes. like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Tricia Yearwood Home Collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Tricia Yearwood Home Collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell. As we wrap up this Monday episode, we went over all the finals for football and went over what happened over the weekend for volleyball as well as the power rankings for this week. And we will go right into the slate on the network tonight. Before we get out of here, and it is Monday, October 10th, we will have 4 volleyball games, 2 girls soccer matches as well. So 6 games on the network tonight in total. Also, Steve Leslie will be at the Golden Dawn for Ysn Volleyball Seniors. So we're going to have interviews with Ysn Volleyball at the Golden Dawn tonight. And also 4 volleyball games and 2 soccer games. So we'll go at the top of the list. Camel Memorial will be at Badger. This is actually a very good matchup. Badger is a team with just 2 losses on the season, and Camel is an 11-win team. So this should be a really good one in Badger. 6:30 is the first serve for that one tonight in Kingsman, Ohio. You're muted.
I said should be a fun one, no doubt.
Matt Morrison will be on the call with John, and then we will go to Cardinal Mooney traveling to Hubbard This is going to be a 7 o'clock start, and it's also a very special night in Hubbard as they honor the lives of Mark Pelini and Jillian Marion, the two great members of the community that lost their lives for Mooney and Hubbard. They expect a very big crowd, which is good, but it's also you don't want them for that circumstance. But we're gonna have it be a very memorial night for both communities as they kind of prove that when things happen that go way past the sport and way past the floor, they can come together and they can come together for a good cause. So it's gonna be a good night in Hubbard. We'll be there on the call for that one for more than a game at Hubbard. So then you'll be at Crestview. You'll be at Fitch for Crestview coming to town. Talked about Crestview against Girard. They got swept against Girard, exposed a couple of their weaknesses. No practices in between, so they're going to have to kind of coach themselves, self-adjust on the fly on the floor, and make sure that they can do it the right way against Fitch, because this is a big test for them as well.
Another big test too, and it's kind of nice to see these teams all kind of play each other. Fitch has been tested too, but those are the teams that they've dropped games to as well as Girard and to Lakeview. So I mean, Fitch wanting to compete with some really good teams is another good test too. They've gotten some good wins on their schedule, another opportunity for Fitch to do so, and an opportunity for Crestview to respond after that loss to Girard.
Thing for you to watch today is, can Crestview pass on the serve? Because Fitch is a good serving team, just like Girard is. So can they get in the system off Fitch's service? Will be something for you to watch.
We've also seen too, like girls like Tara Lytle that have given Fitch trouble in the middle as well. And with Abby M, she's similar kind of size, similar build, where she's going to give you trouble.
Which once again, you got to get the serve right. You got to be able to get good passes to your setter to set up your middle. So that'll be key for Crestview. Like I said, the Abby is their best offensive weapon, and they're going to need to be in system to set her. So
I also want to mention too, like Grace Hour is averaging a triple-double this season right now in digs, assists, and kills, and like that's just only incredible too. So it's like you try to take one of those areas away from her game, right? Like that's got to be a game plan for when you're trying to play Grace, is like try to limit her in at least one of those areas. But it's like that's the kind of model volleyball player you want, is someone that can be effective literally everywhere on the floor, because it's so hard to game plan for someone like that.
Despite the loss, Grace Hour still got a double on Saturday.
Yeah, so they limited one thing from her at least, but she's still effective everywhere else.
Triple-double with 11 kills, 10 digs, 11 kills, 13 digs, 10 assists. So still got a triple-double.
So she still got the triple-double anyways. She still gets a triple-double. And that's incredible numbers for Grace Hour. And she consistently does that game in and game out. What coach wouldn't want that for a match?
She's so versatile. I mean, like I said, when she's in the back row, she's a setter for the team. But then when she rotates in the front row, she's a great outside hitter. And Crestview's had a couple of those. Before Grace Hour, Lucy Montgomery did that for them. And now Grace Hour's doing it for them. So, dang.
You love to see it.
So that'll be a fun one. And then one more volleyball game for you tonight, as it will be Matthews at Liberty. Alec Camerna will be there, and we'll see if Liberty can keep their streak of going 5 sets.
Cardiac cats.
2-5.
It's just pause up. Pause up.
Oh man, Liberty has been a fun team to watch. Whether they come on the right side or the wrong side of the 5-set matches, you can know that every time they play, they like to make it interesting. They like to make sure the fans get all the sets they paid for.
That gray conference, gray side of the MVAC is getting really improved. I mean, Crestview still reigns supreme, but I mean, Liberty, Camel, both vying for double-digit win seasons too. Camel already has it. I think Liberty might already have it as well. Garfield's always been solid too. Newton Falls and Brookfield never push over teams. It's a solid conference too, and it's getting better as well.
Girls soccer will have Poland at Struthers tonight. Richie Giuliano will have the call from Struthers. South Range will travel to Girard tonight, and Matt Mayer will have the call there. Don't forget also there is a big girls soccer matchup in Howland as Canfield comes to town, and it is the AAC on the line. Canfield going for their 11th straight AAC championship against the Tigers tonight. The boys will go for it at home against Howland tomorrow. So both Canfield boys and girls soccer going for conference championships tonight and tomorrow. So two big matchups on the soccer field for Canfield.
We're excited to see it too, and excited to have it as well.
Oh, absolutely! Like soccer's heating up, and their tournament brackets are out as well. So there will be a tournament preview for not just the volleyball, but also girls and boys soccer out on ysnlive.com ASAP.
And we're gonna have to start making our rounds with some of the coaches as well sooner or later, because we know it's gonna be heating up too. And we have some soccer teams every year that seem to make it.
Right. So once again, a 6-game slate on the network tonight, as we have 4 volleyball games, 2 soccer matches, and then also we'll have Steve Leslie at the Golden Dawn restaurant for a special edition of the Ursuline interviews with seniors of the volleyball team on there too. He'll also be back tomorrow for his weekly setup with football and some other athletes as well. So don't miss that as we kind of double dip in the Golden Dawn this week with volleyball tonight, as well as all the games and Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3, Power Hour from 3 to 4. You'll hear more of the power rankings, more different kind of vantage points of the power rankings, and it's going to be fun to watch on Power Hour from 3 to 4 and then 6 games. Check it all out on ysnlive.com/live. Thank you so much.